Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm just going to give a little bit of time here for people to get the notification. Yay, I see Adam here. Welcome. I'm Shannon with Hero Arts. I'm the lead educator at Hero Arts. And today I'm so excited because we are doing a spotlight release video here live on Ralph and Hero Arts' recent fall 2024 release. There's some amazing products they just released yesterday. There was an Instagram hop, which I did share a link to and all the information below in the description. And I have two special guests here too that I can't wait to share with you guys. So I'm just going to give a little bit. Yes, Adam says he loves the 8-ball card. I love it too. It's so good, so fun. Love interactive products. They're just so fun to play with. And I feel like it gives you so many different possibilities. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Beth. Hi, Heather. Hello, hello. Okay, I'm going to bring our special guests on screen here. Let me add them to stage. We have Aaron and Ralph. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for joining, everybody. Great to see you all. I'm excited, Channin, to talk about this release with you and Ralph. This is really fun.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen any of our spotlight releases before, we go through the entire release, and Ralph is going to share a bunch of his insight about the designs and share a lot of card samples too. So really, really, really exciting. Yay! Looks like everybody's live and working well, so that's great. Oh, and look, we have Hero Arts in the comments too. We've got probably Kelly there. Yeah, it's going to be so fun, Heather. Totally, totally. Hi, Vicky. Yeah, and I also, something a little different today. So after we do the whole release, I will make a card with you guys too. So that's a fun little bonus at the end. All right. Are you ready to get going? So let me pop over to my picture. So we are going to start with the amazing, let me pull it up here, sparkling holiday stage. Look at that beautiful product. Do you have some things to say about this design? I know Ralph's talked, and also I do real quick before we get into it. Ralph has a video on his channel that we shared yesterday, that he premiered yesterday as well. And those links for that video is down below in the description.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, hi, thanks everyone for tuning in and learning about this release. I've chatted about it on YouTube already. You may have seen stuff about it on Instagram, but happy, that y'all are all tuning in and we can talk about it in depth here together. But yeah, this first set, when thinking about this next collection, obviously Christmas is right around the corner. And like most card makers, we're getting started on Christmas way early. So I was kind of curious if it was too late to even squeeze in a couple more Christmas items, but I have not started on my Christmas cards, and I'm assuming others have not as well. So we did squeeze in a couple of Christmas items to this release, which we're starting with those first two here today. And these are the only two Christmas items, and then we'll get into some more all-purpose kind of everyday items. But this first set is the Sparkling Holiday Stage Set, which is a 4x6 stamp set. It also is available in a bundle with the coordinating dies. Every single image in the stamp set has a coordinating die, which is something that's very important for me. I don't like to fussy cut, so I always want to make sure that we have dies to match everything. And this was created to play very nicely with a couple of the items from the spring collection. If you're familiar with the spring release that I did with Hero Arts back in, when was that? Like April, May, March, something like that. Yeah, thank you, Shannon. I introduced, these are all products from the past spring release, the Center Stage collection, which is a layered stencil set, which creates this really gorgeous background for like a theater stage and curtains. It has a coordinating die as well, and then some additional elements such as that stamp set with a bunch of performers and then a crowd die. When thinking about this new collection, I wanted to create stuff that would build off of the previous collection. I'm not someone who loves to have a lot of one-trick ponies in my collection. I like to be able to make sure I'm using my supplies over and over again, which is where the inspiration for this Christmas set came from. So Shannon, if you want to go back to Sparkling Hall, yeah, perfect. So this is a set full of images to basically adorn your stage with. So we have the Christmas tree, some candy canes, snowflakes, wreath, and then most importantly, of course, our dancers, which, if you couldn't have guessed it already, is inspired by the Rockettes. Whenever I think about Christmas, my very favorite Christmas holiday, which is not even really Christmas because it happens on Thanksgiving, I love watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And my favorite part, of course, is the Rockettes, which I feel like is really kind of ushering in the Christmas season. So those are supposed to kind of represent the Rockettes. And then also, if you are from a generation of mine, you know Mean Girls. And it was also kind of inspired by Mean Girls, where they're singing Jingle Bell Rock on the high school theater stage. So yeah, let's go ahead and go over to the next one. And then after we talk about this one a bit, we'll jump into some card samples, but these two are very similar, or at least thematically similar. So I want to just touch on these before jumping into the samples. And this is the Holiday Marquee Messages stamp set. So this again kind of plays into that theater center stage theme, except this is full of big, bold holiday sentiments, and they are designed to look like a marquee sign, like you might see, outside of a theater or maybe inside of a theater. We have some very general Christmas sentiments here. So we have Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Season Greetings. And again, I love coordinating dies. So we do have coordinating dies to go with all of these images. And one of the really cool things is you have this kind of border here that you would use for the sign, that rectangular image there. We added a couple of extra stamps. We have two from Sending, Wishing You, so that you can make gift tags out of those, so that you can stamp that and use that rectangle cutout and make a gift tag to match your cards, should you choose. And yeah, just really fun, big, bold, marquee sentiments.
All right. And just to kind of do an interlude here before we continue, it was tons of fun to collaborate with you, Ralph. You were someone that, we spoke with last year, and we started talking about your vision, your ideas, what you wanted to do. And, Hero Arts design team and Ralph really collaborated really well. And that's where that first spring collection came out in, I think it was Valentine's Day of this year. But we started, developing it September, maybe 2023. And so it's such a joy to see it come to fruition, see all the excitement around it. And then to kind of, decide we wanted to work on that together to expand it. It's really fun how they interlock with the spring release. They really build on and also add, new angles. So before we continue, how do you get that inspiration? Because I remember that at first you're like, yeah, I'm not really sure what I want to do. And then all of a sudden, but here's 25 ideas.
Yeah. It's that, what do they say? Under promise, over deliver type of situation. But yeah, I get that question is so hard for me to answer, where inspiration comes from, because I feel like it's it's different for everyone, and B, it's just, for me, it feels very organic. Like things just kind of float through your brain, and then every now and then you latch onto one. And that's kind of what happened with the theater set. I love theater. I'm not a theater kid. I've never performed or acted, but I love going to the theater. I love musicals and Broadway. And so that was already a passion of mine. And
Right.
funny enough, that was one of the first things that Libby, who used to work at Hero Arts,
Right.
whenever I first started working with Hero Arts, we bonded over that initially because she loves theater too. And I think maybe that had something to do with it. I just kind of got those wheels turning. And then when it comes to the Christmas set, again, thinking about Christmas, I was like, I don't know, I want to do something for Christmas, but it's so hard to do anything original for Christmas, because I feel like, it's such a big holiday in the crafting space that I didn't want to just put out something that was repurposed. And so I thought that doing like a theatrical theater scene that's Christmas themed would be a really cool, fun, unique twist on, Christmas cards. And I love making scene cards. If anyone's familiar with the cards that I make on Instagram and TikTok, I love making little scenes. So I think it was just kind of perfect marriage for me.
And of course, the one of the things that was so fun watching on your TikTok in the early days before I think that was before we created the collection, right? You did HeroScapes, a number of HeroScapes, including the spaceship taking sheep out of the field. And yeah, that one was just so fun to see, so fun to watch. If you haven't seen that card, go look back through Ralph's social media, because it's a wonderful card. And he pointed out that it would have been better if we would have had, instead of the missing you, which he put as the message, it would have been more funny if it was missing you, right? The EWE, the reference to a sheep. So
Yeah.
So
it's funny. I don't feel like I pointed that out. I felt like the hundreds of comments I got about it pointed out.
Yeah.
I was like, I know, guys, I didn't design the stamp. But yeah, that's still, I get that question a lot. Like, what's my favorite card I've ever made? And that one is always at the top of the list. I think it's fun.
That's fun. All right. Well, so thank you for the interlude, just to kind of share that kind of behind the scenes design work, because it was a lot of fun to collaborate. And I know Ron, Robin, Manami, and Laura really enjoyed your energy and your ideas. And I mean, man, it's just great to see it now. Obviously, the spring collection, and now as this fall release. So it's tons of fun to see the card samples, to see the ideas, to hear kind of your descriptions of the whole thing. So hope everybody here that's joining us is enjoying that as much as I am. But thank you for indulging me, Ralph.
Absolutely. The pleasure is all mine. I am going to switch my camera over and dive into some samples. And then I think Shannon's going to have a few samples to look at as well. Okay, is this? Yeah, perfect. So this is sample number 1. This is, as you can imagine, or as you already know, the Sparkling Holiday Stage stamp set. So I used the curtain and the stage stencil, from the spring release, and then just adorned it with our little dancers here, Christmas tree, candy canes. One thing I really love about this stamp set that I don't talk about enough is the sentiments. I really love not only the font, but the size of these sentiments, and the coordinating dies get in very closely. I'm not sure if you can really tell on camera, but it's super, super detailed, and I feel like it makes it, just gives it a little more elevated, elegant look. Then next up, we have another one. So this also uses the curtain die from the spring release, as well as the crowd die. Did a couple of crowd dies down here, and then of course the 2 new items here are the dancers, and then we have the Merry Christmas marquee, which I thought it was really fun to do. Kind of, this is kind of me nerding out on the product side, like using a combination of products, but then putting the new ones in color and the older ones in white. I thought that was kind of a fun contrast.
I love that card, Ralph. I think that's a very good, clean, and simple way to incorporate those products together.
No, it's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. The next card, very similar, super simple, but I wanted to show how you could use the dancers separately. So the die itself comes with all 3 dancers connected, but you can tell there's not a ton of cardstock really holding these guys together. So if you go in there with a pair of scissors, it's super easy to cut them apart, and then you can kind of have them like displaying your marquee sign. There was a really cool card that Kay did on YouTube. I don't know if we have it in our screenshots, but she actually did the Rockettes in the center of the street, which you'll see here in a little bit, presenting a card, and it was really cool. And then here's another option, just classic red with a Happy Holidays sentiment. Very, very simple, but pretty. And I think that's all of the samples that I have. Shannon, I know you have some, so I'll let you take over.
Okay.
Well, and Ralph, I think that your style too is really fun. How we take the designs, we have the concepts, the illustrators drew those, but then to have you show your cards and really see those is kind of, it's your vision that now has, come to fruition in card making form. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever seen the Rockettes in New York?
I don't think I have. I Not sure. I have this like faint memory of maybe seeing them, but if I did, it was when I was like 6 years old, and I don't remember much from 6 years old. So I don't want to confidently say that I have.
Yeah, because Radio City Music Hall, as a few people have pointed out, is a really fun visit. So if you're ever in New York, these aren't exactly those, but the Rockettes are certainly are worth seeing, and it's almost like your cards on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And with these dancers, you could I think I haven't done it yet, but you could totally like draw your own candy cane stripes on there, which I know is one of the iconic
my
outfits they wear.
I want to do
Yeah.
that. That's a good idea.
Go for it.
So I have a couple of several cards that were shared yesterday from our creative team and our guests. So I'm going to put those on screen here, starting with this awesome one by Rosie. I love how she, framed it up a little bit with the 2 Christmas trees. Super cute. And then we have another one here by Rosie. Love all the red. That's really pretty. Reminds me of the last card you shared, Ralph, with lots of red, and you just had your marquee and your candy canes. It's a really pretty one.
Yeah.
And then we have this one by Pam. I look at how she did the background. Very cool. And she used the sentiments from the marquee as like her actual sentiment. She didn't frame it up with the marquee stamps or dies. And I think that was really clever use of that stamp set as well.
And then it has that feel of lights, like light flashing in the background. Yeah. So it's there's a lot of movement to it.
I didn't even think of that. So true. And then we have this one here by Ida, and I love this one. She used, you may not be able to tell, but if you look closely at the end and at the tops of their hats, of their outfits, the ends of their outfits and the tops of them, she used, I think, like a snow pen. So it's actually puffy and textured. And I thought that was a fun idea to incorporate some texture as well. And then we have this one. I think this one might be the one Ralph is talking about. Look at this incredible pop-up card. This one's so cool. I love how she did several Rockettes on the inside. Just awesome, awesome, awesome. We send it to the Rockettes. We should. Let's do it. That would be fun. Yeah, isn't that amazing? So good, right? And this is a very, very simple pop-up design, pretty simple, but wow, big impact for sure.
That's beautiful.
I think I have one last one. This last one I really like because this one shows another product. So you see the Rockettes in the front, and then you can see a faint like skyline, and that's actually another stamp set that's from this release, the Street View set, which we will get to later, but I thought that was so cool. This is from Lydia, and she combined, and she stamped it white on black. Brilliant, so simple, but you can tell it's a cityscape. It's just awesome, and the dancers or the Rockettes really stand out, really pop. So really great.
Well, and Lydia, she really loves real life detective murder podcasts. So this has a slight hint of that feel. Like you just never know what's down that alley.
Mm-hmm. She's awesome. She's a true crime junkie, and I appreciate it. That's all of them. So the next I guess we can jump to the next product. Let's see here. Our next one is going to be the interactive 8-ball. So before I put it on screen, do you have anything you'd want to share about that design? That's an interactive card, obviously, but really cool.
But it doesn't have to be.
That's true. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, so there's not much to say about it. First of all, I have been really obsessed with interactive cards in general recently. Anyone that follows me has probably picked up on that. I've been having a lot of fun making interactive cards, even things that aren't meant to be interactive, figuring out how I can make them interactive. So I definitely wanted to do an interactive die set for this release. But as far as the inspiration behind it goes, of course, in my spring release, I did the composition notebook themed items, which had a very like retro throwback feel to it. And so I wanted to add a couple more products that were kind of in that same theme, again, just to kind of round out the collection. And I was listening to a song one day, which I get a lot of inspiration from music. A lot of times, I don't know, inspiration hits me when I'm listening to music. And I was listening to a song called 8 Ball Girl by a singer named Maddie Zom, which I'm a big fan of.
Love that song. It's a good one.
Yeah, it is. And there's really not much rhyme or reason to it, but she was singing the song, and then I was like, 8 ball. We should do an 8 ball die set and make it interactive. So like whenever you change the dial, it answers one of your questions. And so that was kind of the idea behind it. So Shannon will show it here in a second, but it's 2 products that kind of work together to create this fun interactive card. So there's a 4x6 stamp set, which has a bunch of sentiments, like questions you would ask a magic 8 ball. And then there are some stamps that would go inside of the 8 ball to answer those questions. And then the die set, you assemble it together to actually create a magic 8 ball so that you can reveal the message. It'll probably make a lot more sense if you haven't seen it yet whenever we show you the samples. But that's kind of the idea. And then there's a few sentiments there on the bottom that you could also use to adorn the front or the inside of your cards.
Oh yeah,
Right.
That's a good thing to point out, is that the inside you can do stamp. I don't know. I feel like I'm one of many, which I never know what to do on the inside of my cards. And not only are these sentiments perfect for the inside, but they're funny and cute. You have wishing you good fortune on your birthday. Perfect. We have I'm so lucky to have you in my life. Like perfect, pun with the magic 8 ball. And then at least I didn't forget that one. I am like feel seen and feel called out at the same time.
That's great.
Yeah.
And there's a nostalgia to this, like this kind of going back to how you came up with this idea and the song. I mean, there certainly is a nostalgia, childhood nostalgia around this, which is always wonderful during the holiday season, when you're sharing things with friends or family or people you haven't seen in a long time, or, even high school friends during the holidays, or even earlier. So I think this is really playful and fun.
Yeah. A lot of fun. Had a lot of fun with this one. There were so many sentiments that I wanted to include that we just didn't have room for. Of course, you can make a larger stamp set, but we want to make sure that the stamp set is, accessible and not too expensive. So I had to kind of whittle down the sentiments, but there are so many fun things you could make the 8 ball say or ask the 8 ball, and who knows, maybe there'll be more in the future.
Please make more. I want more.
Me too.
So Ralph, do you have some samples you want to share of the interactive 8 ball?
I sure do. I have a handful. Handful meaning 3. I don't know if that counts as a handful. But the number one, or the first one, I should say, is just like a classic black and white theme. So I don't know if you noticed in the stamp set that we showed on screen just a second ago. If not, I think I have one sitting next to me. The only image in this stamp set is this little 8 ball guy, which I thought could be helpful to, adorn your inside of the card or maybe an envelope. But in this case, I actually used it to create kind of a patterned background. So I just hand stamped that and rotated the 8 ball as I went around. And then here in the middle, of course, you have the main attraction, which is the interactive die. By the way, if you get this set, there is a video on the product page on the Hero Arts website that walks you through step by step on how to assemble this.
Yes.
It's pretty simple, but if you're looking for some assistance, make sure you check out that video. But in this case, we have the stamp up here that says, will this card arrive on time? And then this is the sentiment that Shannon was talking about. When you turn the dial, it says, hopefully you can read that, it's not likely. And then on the inside, we have another one of the stamps that says, at least I didn't forget. So those 3 work together very nicely. And then there's also, I should mention, you can kind of assemble this 8 ball in a few different ways. For instance, I have the tab over here on the right. Depending on how you want your 8 ball to function, you could have the tab over here as well. And then we have a little arrow stamp. We have one pointing this way and then one pointing the opposite direction. So you can really assemble it and make the card however you'd like. Moving on. The next card sample I have, I kind of alluded to this earlier with Channin, is you don't have to make it interactive. I know interactive cards are not for everyone, so you can totally still use this die and just not have the interactive mechanism. So in this case, I just have my static still 8-ball here. And in this case, it says, actually, this is the same sentiment set. Will this card arrive on time? It's not likely. And then I just kind of copied the die a little bit around the card. And then I know it's not technically a billiards ball, but I put it on kind of a green background just to give that, billiards aesthetic. And then the last sample I have, this is a super simple one using nothing but the stamp set. So in this one, I just used that 8-ball stamp and made a little rainbow pyramid of stamps. And then I used one of those sub greetings wishing you good fortune on your birthday. So I just wanted to show a really simple way that you could use just the stamp set, make a very simple single layer stamped only card.
And especially well if you're either 8 or 88.
Yes. Or what is it? 88,888,000.
Yeah.
I also want to say real quick, Ralph, that the video you mentioned, as well as the other video that's up on our site for the retro game, are both listed below in the description as well.
Oh, perfect. All right.
All right. Let's guess I can add. I will jump to my camera, I guess, because I have a couple of cards to share. Let's change view. I actually have them here. Woohoo! So let's go to picture in picture. And first is this one. So I have a few, just a couple here, but then I have a few more photos to share from that I collected from the creative team and guests yesterday in the IG Hop, which is still up, by the way. The IG Hop is still up, and it's still, there's giveaways. So if you leave comments on the accounts that are participating, you get entered into giveaways. So check that out. And again, I linked that below, info for that as well. So here is, this card is by Kelly. She's amazing. She kind of coordinates our creative team and so much more. But she made this beautiful card. And you mentioned, I remember Ralph mentioned earlier that his composition products that he made in the spring were kind of retro. And here you can actually see that composition. This is actually a cling or a red rubber stamp. It's beautiful, so good. She used it here in her background. And this is a shaped card. Isn't that cool? It's shaped. That's so cool. And this is also not an interactive card. So you can just see how it's nice and clean and simple. Another great way to use that interactive 8-ball set. And her sentiment she has here is, are you the most incredible person I know? I'm sure of it. Such a cute, yeah, Kelly's so talented. Such a cute kind of like a thank you card. Really, really awesome. And then I have a card here that I made where I went very, very purple. And I used the sentiments that honestly should be on every single card that I ever make from now until the end of time is, will this card arrive on time? Definitely won't. I probably don't even need to turn this, and then I use the, at least I didn't forget, but let's turn it so you can see. And so I did a little heat embossing, so it pops a little bit. Let's see if I can focus. It'll focus. It's not likely. So funny, so cute. Love it. Really, really great one. Oh, hi. Amy's here. Hi, Amy. So let me pop over to Amy. I think I have your card. Oh, I do have some of your cards that I'm sharing on screen in a little bit. Now I'm going to pop over and show you some pictures of cards that were shared yesterday. Let me see here. We have, starting with, oh, Brennan Key's here. I look at his card here. He did the green too, which I also love that Ralph did, that beautiful, like a billiards table green. And
it makes me think of felt, like
yes,
the actual felt of the billiard table. Yeah, it's a great color, and it really makes the card pop, just like Ralph did.
I would love to see someone actually put some felt down. That would be cool. You could do that.
That would.
And he did the, I'm not saying you're old, but It seems so, yes. Very, very cute. Love that. That's funny. And then we have this one by Caitlin, I believe. Look at how she did. Like, it looks real. This looks like a real magic 8-ball. I'm not entirely sure. I know she used alcohol inks. I'm not entirely sure how she did this, but this is amazing. I love this one. And then we have one from Sika on our creative team. And I love this one because it shows you how you can use, think about your specialty papers. She used one of those really slick, shiny black cardstock papers. And I think that works perfectly for her 8-ball.
I love that she did the shiny paper. Whenever I saw that card yesterday, I was like, how did I not think of that?
Very smart.
So smart.
Okay, and that's all. Let me change back to my forward. That's all my cards for the interactive 8-ball. So we are actually on to another product. So our next product that we are going to share, let me just make sure I'm right here. I got them in order, is the retro game. So let's pop it up on screen.
All right.
I love this one. I love.
Yeah, I think everyone should be familiar
the most
with
fun
this
to
guy.
develop and work on with you, Ralph. It kind of childhood unfolded in front of me as you guys worked on this.
Yeah, this one's fun, and it's funny because everyone kind of has their own story to how they relate with like Game Boys. Because some people grew up with the original one, or the Game Boy Color, or the DS, or there's so many different variations of a retro game. But in this case, we kind of went with the old school Game Boy look. Although when I'm making cards with this set, I like to make them look more like the Game Boy Color. But the idea behind this one, I mean, it's not totally groundbreaking, right? It's a Game Boy. But it plays into the retro theme that I wanted to kind of round out in this release. But one reason I really wanted to make this card or this die set, is I really wanted to make a Game Boy die that could make an entire A2 size card. So as opposed to creating a die that just creates like an element for a card, this die set is going to create an entire A2 size card. So you don't really need anything else to make the card. That being said, it's quite a large die set because, that largest die there, the big rounded rectangle one that makes the Game Boy body, is basically an A2 size card times 2. So while I'm chatting about this, one thing I'll mention, if you are working with a regular die cutting machine like a Platinum 6 or a Big Shot, when you're running this through, you might need to run it through one time and then shift your paper a little bit and then run it through a second time. Make sure you're using some masking tape. That's a little tip. I'm getting a little into the weeds here. But again, there's a whole video on how to assemble this guy. So this creates an A2 size Game Boy. We also have a coordinating stamp set, so you can kind of adorn the screen with some fun video game icons and video game themed sentiments. And then this one, similar to the 8-ball, it doesn't have to be an interactive card, but I did design it so that it could be interactive should you so choose. Again, I've been really into the interactive cards lately. But let's go ahead and jump into some samples so you can actually see what this looks like. Okay, so sample number 1. This is a little green kind of Game Boy Color, if you will. This is the color of the Game Boy that I had growing up. So when I got this die set in my hands finally, I knew that this is the first one I had to make. And you can see I used some of the stamp sets or some of the stamps here to just create like a little Tetris screen. And then the fun thing is you can pull on this little tab. So you have your little game cartridge here. And then you can reveal a different design or sentiment on your actual screen there.
So fun.
And you can use the pull tab if you'd like. Let me grab, I actually have another sample over here. You could also kind of do it like this so that you have the game cartridge sticking out the top if you wanted to. This is basically the same design. I just wanted to show you how you can do the pull tabs differently. And then this is another example. So this is a pink Game Boy Color. where I didn't make it interactive. So again, if you don't want to make it interactive, if you don't want to deal with putting the foam tape in there and sliding your game cartridge in and out, that's totally fine. You can just kind of put it together just as so. And one thing I will mention is, I think, or this isn't something you have to do. This is something I do with my cards. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I added acetate to those screens, which is a really fun touch just to make it look a little bit more realistic. But I think it's so fun that they're A2 card size. So it almost feels like you could sit here and play this. Like I don't know if you're into fidget toys, I feel like you could sit here and fidget with this for a while. But that's kind of the basic use of these. So I did a very basic pink and green Game Boy. Some of the creative team and folks who participated in the Instagram hop yesterday really went wild with it. So I'm excited, Shannon, for you to show them some of those.
Okay, let me put my camera back on. There we go. So I'm going to pop over to my desk first before I share some of the creative team cards. Because I have a couple by Rosie here in person. And first is this one here. I love that. She went gray, kind of classic. And she did Pac-Man, so cute. You can see how it opens up. Awesome. And then we have this other one by Rosie. And this one has the cartridge that you can pull out. She didn't do the pull tab, which is very cool. You can do either or. Let's pull it all the way out. As you can see, the cartridge looks so good. I can't get over that. It's so cool. Yeah, let me pop it back in there. You beat the hardest level, little Tetris.
That one's really fun.
Yeah. And then we have another one by Rosie. Again, she went kind of that Pac-Man kind of style. Here we have a colored cartridge. That's very cool. And she actually made a whole like suite of cartridges. If you went like really crazy, I could see this being a fun like gift almost for someone, you know, with their card. You gave them a couple extra cartridges. That would be fun.
Yeah, or gift tags.
Gift tags, Ralph. That's such a good idea. So many good ones. And then this one. This one to me seems so Nintendo. I don't know what it is, but that is it's the most Nintendo to me looking. Maybe because of the red and the gray. So fun.
All the OG gray color too.
Yes.
That's really cool.
So let me share some cards that I grabbed from yesterday from our creative team and other people who contributed to our IG hop. Let me pop over. Adam says that would be a fun anniversary gift one. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Adam, a cartridge for each year of marriage. What a cute idea. And you could do like a little different scene on each one. Oh my gosh, that's like the best idea I've ever heard. I love it. Let me pop over here.
Shannon, now you have to make it.
I do. The problem is I've been married too long. I don't want to. It's going to take me a little while. All right.
Fun.
We got this one first. Who's this one by? Oh, Michelle and our creative team. I love the classic look. She went for kind of realistic. But look at her buttons. They like are very dimensional. I definitely want to press those. And I love the green screen and the Tetris, just so good. And then I have a couple more that went really kind of realistic, and I just couldn't believe it. We have this one by Bo. Look at that.
That's fun.
Green screen. It looks like a real Game Boy. I'm blown away.
All the buttons. Yeah. The last one and this one. They look so interactive.
So good. And then
Bo also decorated the inside of his. I don't know if you have the photo of it, but he did a really cool like border using all of the different video game icons on the inside of the card that I thought looked really cool.
Oh my gosh, I didn't grab that. Y'all need to go check out Bo on his Instagram and see the inside for sure. And then we have this one by Amy, who's here. An advent calendar. Oh my gosh, you guys have the greatest ideas. What a good idea. And again, Amy went really realistic, and I'm blown away. It looks so good. Look at her select and start that she stamped. Perfection. So good.
And I love how, Amy, you cut the little speaker die into the card front. So the speaker is recessed.
Yeah.
That's a tip too. That's a tip you shared too in your video, Ralph, which I did link below as well for this product. You showed cutting into the card front to kind of add kind of that recessed dimension.
Yeah, I love how Amy left it like open though. It looks like there's so much space there.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, I'm glad you pointed that out. I didn't realize that. I see it now. Oh, cool.
That is really cool.
And then this is our last kind of, I think, no, I told you, we have a ton. We have the most of the retro games, so I apologize, but we only have like 5 more. I wanted to show this one by Heather because I loved her realistic look. Again, that green screen with the green images, but she does her envelope. Heather almost always does envelopes. And I just love that idea of creating a matching envelope with the stamps that, with the same stamps that you use on your card. It's just so smart, really easy to do. And it just takes it, your whole card, your whole gift, giving it to someone up another level. And let's see, we have Charlene, who's also here. This one I think is really cool because she has that black screen and then her images are colored, so opaque, which is a really dramatic look. Very, very cool.
I also love how on Charlene's card she has the little like lime green indicator light on the top left.
Right.
Again,
I noticed
very
that too.
realistic.
Yeah.
And then now we're into some kind of more playful and creative ones where we have this one by Rachel. I love the blue. It's just cute. And then we have this one by Natasha. Look at that. Amazing. If I had a custom one, I would get it to look just like this.
That one's amazing. Yeah, I'm not sure how Natasha did that. Is that?
I'm not entirely sure how Natasha did it either. Natasha's amazing. I'm not sure. She might have had some pattern paper, possibly. It's so good. So that's actually even if it isn't pattern paper, that's another idea is incorporate pattern paper. It's almost like a skin or something it's kind of a different idea.
Yeah, Natasha did one. I don't know if it's in here or not, but she did another one where she actually used the composition notebook stamp from the spring release, and then adorned it with a bunch of the hero transfers from the spring release.
Shoot, I didn't grab that one. I only grabbed one, but it was really good. And then we have this one by Jennifer or Jen. I love this one because she made it a shaker card. Can you guys see that? That was actually one of my ideas to do with this set too, is actually make it a shaker card. That is so fun. Tons of potential there. Like you have, depending on your little clay confetti or whatever, you could theme it. It could be really cool. And then last and certainly not least is this amazing one by Alberto. He's just like, he's traded his soul for the best coloring skill ever. Like, I don't even know, have no idea how he does this, but this is colored and it's just insane.
Yeah, he leaves me speechless all the time. I have no idea.
Every time I think he can't do better than the one I saw before, and it's always better. It's always better.
Right. And I don't know if you can tell in this screenshot, but he actually made all of those game cartridges 3-dimensional. So
wow,
he had a video on his story, but you could tell that it's like very layered. That's really cool.
Really cool.
All right, I think let me put that away. That was our last. Let's go back to forward. That was our last retro game sample, and we are on to now our very last product of the release, which is the Street View HeroScape.
Yes. Last but not least, this is one of my favorites, although it does seem a little different than the rest. Shannon, do you want to go ahead and pop up the thing?
You got it.
Through it. Okay, so as Aaron kind of alluded to earlier, one of the first things I fell in love with Hero Arts is their HeroScapes, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with HeroScapes. I'm preaching to the choir. But those of you who are not familiar with them, it's Hero Arts' version of a layered stamp set but specifically a layered stamp set that creates basically an entire scene. And most times it'll fill up an entire card. And so whenever thinking about what I wanted to do for this release, I knew that I wanted to make my own HeroScape. And anyone that knows me knows that I love like city and urban design. And so I really wanted to do kind of a city street. And in this case, it's called the Street View HeroScape because you're looking at it from the street level, kind of like on Google Maps. You know, you can view in Street View, drag and drop that little yellow person in the street. So that's kind of the vantage point you're looking at here. I know it looks a little confusing when it's all spread out like this, but I'll show you some examples of it put together here in just a second. But this set I feel like has so much potential, and I have so many ideas for ways that I want to expand on this set in the future. But for now, we have just a very simple, pretty city street view. I think this is perfect for welcoming someone to a new neighborhood, or if someone's moving across the country or moving to a new city, it's great for that. Or if somebody got a new job, new promotion, or just like a thinking of you just because card. I think it's a really good all-purpose card, especially for folks who love, you know, cities, obviously. Okay, let me go ahead and show you a couple of samples. And then the really fun thing about this too is it can actually pair really nicely with, I was talking a little bit earlier about my love for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. You could use the Rockettes, the dancers stamp from the earlier card and put those in the street and go for a little parade situation. Very fun.
That's fun.
But here is a very simple version of that card. So in this case, we have, you know, the buildings on each side, a little building in the background, and then you can adorn the street with a crosswalk and the center street lane, as well as a manhole, light pole, and the people, which I'm going to talk about the people here in just a second. Actually, it looks like my camera is mirrored. 1 second. There we go. Now you can read it. So this is a very simple put together card. I did take it up a notch on my next one, and I just wanted to make the street look, or the city look, a little bit busier. So basically what I did was I stamped the same design but in different colors and cut them out, and then just kind of layered them on top of each other to create a much busier looking street. And then I ink blended the street here, so we have a gray, you know, actual road colored street. And then I heat embossed the crosswalk here, and I intentionally made it a little splotchy. I don't know if you can really tell on camera, to give kind of that worn paint look that you oftentimes see in the city. And then this sentiment stamp is from the same stamp set, although the sentiment die is actually from one of the sets in my spring release, the Essential Messages, which comes with a bunch of all-purpose everyday sentiments and coordinating die strips. I use that same die sentiment strip to cut out the sentiment from the stamp set. The interesting thing I want to point out about the people here. So when you look at the stamp set, let me just grab it here. There are 2 stamps for the people here. Those are 2 separate individual stamps. The interesting thing is if you choose to buy the bundle with the coordinating dies, there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4 different dies for the people. And the reason being is I wanted you to be able to either use them independently, as if, you know, they're strangers on the street, or you can configure them in 2 different ways where they're holding hands, either, you know, blue person front, purple person behind, or vice versa. And then there's dies to match all 4 of those configurations. So it's kind of like a 4 for 2 deal, right? You got 2 stamps, you got 4 different ways you can stamp it and cut it out. All right. Yeah, those are actually the only 2 samples I have. So Shannon, I'll kick it over to you to show some others.
All right, let me grab.
Those are really fun.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Might pick camera back. There we go. Because I do have some cards here. I have 1 card. I have 1 card here by Kelly, but it's a stunning card. No surprise because Kelly made it. But look at that beautiful card. I love how she did kind of an ombre look on her buildings and then complemented it with this really pretty sunsetty sky with a little bit of stars popping in. Isn't it so good? And she didn't even use all of the images in the set. So I think that's another thing to keep in mind. You don't have to use everything in the set. You could just use the buildings and some of the people. And it's a very dynamic scene, even without all the buildings, which I loved Ralph's stacked one. I got to do a card like that because I think that's so cool too. So let's see. And now
it also,
oops, sorry.
Yeah, it feels like Northern Lights or something, right? Yeah. It's like a Northern Lights card. As the sun's going down, you can see the Northern Lights. And as Ralph mentioned, the people can be used together or separate. So there's many variants or separate ways to do it.
She has them like holding hands, which is so nice.
Yeah.
Isn't it great, Arlene? Yeah, it's a really great set. Let me show you some cards that were shared yesterday during the IG Hop. I'll pull down here. We have a couple. We have this one from our creative team. So pretty. I love her blue sky and her very colorful buildings. And here's another good example where she didn't use, so the buildings are kind of a two-step stamp. They have a base layer and then they have a detail layer. But here, I believe she only used the detail layer for those larger buildings in the foreground or middle ground. And I just think that's another great way. And she also has like an ombre inking to it as well. So they have some gradation to them, which is really pretty, adds some more interest. So kind of a clean and simple look, but I love it. I love that you can kind of go kind of more realistic or do a clean and simple look. And then we have an awesome card here shared. I love that she did, I don't even totally know. I think she's like pattern paper. Oh, Ralph grabbed another card to share. Awesome. He's so speedy. We have I think she used, actually, I think she made that paper. So I don't know if you can tell. Let me pop over to the comments to see if there's any questions. Her buildings are multicolored. And I believe I'm not totally sure how she did it. I think she made the background herself.
It looks like some kind of spray situation.
Yeah, maybe spray or even ink smooshing. Why did I forget what that was called for the longest time? I couldn't remember what that was called, but it's so good. Love it. And her white on the street, amazing. I love how that pops.
And the clouds.
Oh yeah, the clouds. I didn't even see them now. I'm looking closer. Such pretty. Her sky looks realistic. But I think that's such a different and unique idea too, to kind of, you don't have to have your building solid. Think about playing with textures or sprays or ink smooshing. There's so many different looks. Let's see. I think that is my last one. I know I see, let me pop over here.
Ralph, I did add one more.
One more picture. Do you want me to show it now? It's back to
yeah, it's actually for the city. So sorry, I probably got the wrong size, but
no, you're fine.
I am obsessed with this card from Kay. She actually used the dancers along with the cityscape. So you can kind of see she used the building there on the left and the right, and then did a slimline card. So she was able to fit a bunch of dancers and the marquee and the little crosswalk there. And I thought that was a really fun way to kind of combine everything.
So cool. I love that this card and Lydia did where the idea of combining the Rockettes or the girls from the sparkling holiday stage with this street view HeroScape. Really, really smart. All right. And I think that we just went through the entire Hero Arts and Ralph Tyndall fall release. Let's see. Yay. That was everything. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Looking at all those samples, having some insight from Ralph and Aaron. There he is. And is there any last things we want to say before we go to the last segment, our last bit of this live, which is I'm going to make a card. Let's see.
No, just thank y'all for being here and hanging out and watching all of the inspiration. I was super excited for this collaboration and collection to become available to all of you, and even more excited to see what you all make with it. I think that's kind of the fun part of designing products is you can have an idea of how you'll use them and how people might use them, but then you're always surprised with how people actually end up using them. So I'm super excited to see what all of you get up to if you feel inspired to play with these products. And yeah, thanks for being here and hanging out.
And just to close it, it's so much fun to collaborate with Ralph, get those ideas, especially given as an industry, it's always great to have new customers, new ideas, new age groups, new styles to really kind of spark creativity and innovation. And I think you bring that, Ralph, in so many different ways. And I know Laura and the design team just loved working with you from the spring collection to this fall collection, and hopefully more to come. If not enhancements from these collections, then future ideas. Because again, of those 25 ideas that you shared, I think we've only done like 6, so there's another 19 to go, or others. Who knows?
Yeah, and there's more. Yeah, the list has grown.
I'm sure.
Don't worry.
Yes. Great. So I hope everybody enjoys it, and it was tons of fun to join you, Channin, and I will watch from the comments as you make cards.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much for joining us. And Ralph's going to stick around, I think, a little bit, but off camera, so he might have a little input to say here and there. But we are actually going to create a card together I'm going to create a card with you all featuring the Street View HeroScape. So I'm going to say goodbye and then take over the camera here. There we go. All right. Let me get my mouse out of the way and grab the stamp set. All right. And this is a big stamp set. I don't know if we mentioned before, it's a 6x8. So this is a large stamp set. And I'm going to grab my Misty here. And we're going to start by die cutting the kind of our foreground scene first. Let me grab the coordinating dies that go with this set. The creative part, yes. Hopefully. I haven't, normally when I do these lives, I've totally done the whole card all the way through. I cannot make that claim this time. I've done some of it through, but not all of it. So wish me luck. So these are the coordinating dies. You have this die here that actually cuts out the one, kind of, you can use this to create a layer for your scene. And this would be the layer with the buildings. So I'm going to start with an A2 panel of white cardstock. I'm trying to grab one that I prepared before the live. I did get that together. Here it is. And I think what I decided after practicing that for this card, I want a lot of the scene to show. So I'm going to have it sit kind of low. So this is your A2. This is an A2 panel. I'm going to have it sit a little lower, but I want that dip to be fairly centered. It's just for pure aesthetic reasons. I want it centered, but you could have it a little bit more over because it's a slightly bit bigger than 4 1/4. And I'm going to grab my tape it in place. I might go up a tiny bit more. We'll go there because I can always trim it off if I don't want it that big. Oh, that's true. All right. We do have a flash sale going on still. It's for our fall, from our Hanging with Hero. It's for our fall select products, but it's half off. Fall favorites, that's what it's called. All right, I'm going to die cut this. All right. That's a good thing to share. Thank you. All right. Groovy Girl cards. I love that name. All right, so now that that's cut out, we're going to stamp our scene. So let's put the die back here. Whoops, we don't need that. Grab my Misty. And I found, for me, it was easier. You know what? I'm going to move this light because that reflection is a little bit harsh. Will that work? I can't push it back any further. We're going to grab, I like to stamp this. So let's hold this. Let me grab some white paper so you can actually see this set a little bit better. Sorry, it's not all the way big, but it helps. So before I was saying this set has 2 layers. So it's kind of a layering set. You have this base layer for this building here and this base layer for this building here. These 2 are the detail layers. So you have the base and the detail. And then you do have this one smaller grouping of buildings that will go in the very back. I found that's the easiest way to start. Tomorrowland vibes. I love that idea. Maybe because there's a wall in Disneyland that in Tomorrowland, in Disneyland, that has like some crazy texture, and it kind of reminds me of the detail layer. What do you think, Brennan? Could that be it? Maybe I'm just crazy. All right, I'm looking at the side and really looking over. Sorry if my big head was in the way. Trying to pick up. Make sure that stamp's in the right spot. It looks pretty good. Maybe a little. Good. There's going to be a little white, intended to be a little white, just like when you typically die cut your stamped images, there's a little border, a little paper border. The same is here. You could use this small stamp a couple of times to make a clean and simple card. Oh, Ralph's always coming in with the brilliant ideas. And my problem is I love clean and simple, but for some reason I can never do it. I am always overcomplicating things, which is it's like a toxic trait, but also can sometimes be good because sometimes I get some crazy, amazing cards out of that, but often they're just crazy. We're going to start with charcoal. I'm going to make these buildings darker. So I'm going to ink them up with a pretty dark, our darkest gray we have. See, Amy, I knew there was a reason why we get along so well. It's because we're twinsies. Amy helped me one time so much, and I will never forget it, at a show once where I was dying. So Amy is an amazing person. I appreciate her so much. I love clean and simple, but I always can't do it for whatever reason. And I'm going to stamp this a couple of times. It's a struggle. I think it's because my brain is very not as creative as I'd like it to be. And when I approach a set that's could be done realistically, I'm going to do it realistically, even to my own detriment. I'm going to approach it with realistic colors, and then I'll see someone else who will try, maybe they'll make an 8-ball. Maybe they'll make the building splattered. I never would have thought of doing that. And then I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. That's so fun and creative. So for me, I really appreciate seeing what other people do. It kind of sparks ideas in me that I never would have thought of. And then I have another idea. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. You think it's very cutting edge? It's very different, isn't it? It's very different. All right, we're going to do a little gradation. We're going to stamp a gradation. This is a great thing to show you guys because a lot of the samples had this. They had a stamped gradation. We're going to do it multiple times, so don't worry. You're going to see me do it. Sika's here. Hi, Sika. Sika, speaking about clean and simple queen, Sika is one of them. She's so good. Her designs always blow me away. I'm always like, I never would have thought of that. Look at how beautiful that is. And she's an amazing ink blender as well. She has a beautiful soft touch. I'm always so heavy-handed. All right. I've inked that up. I got so excited about Sika, I didn't even explain what I did. Let me try again. So we have pitch black ink here. You can use any black ink. I need to go a little bit darker to show the contrast. So I went with a dark gray. So now I have to go with a dark black. And then I don't want it just to be black. I just want to step it up a little bit, make it a little darker. So I'm going to use my blending brush to apply the ink to halfway, starting from the bottom, halfway up the stamp. And I could even put a white paper under here, but I do not think you're going to see. You can really see. You can kind of see a gradation because the stamp is already kind of stained and it's already dark. But I'm applying the ink with my blending brush because what this is going to do is, one, get me that softer color. I don't want it to be black. I want it to be a softer color. And two, it's going to soften the transition between this black and the charcoal that we already stamped. So we'll have a nice smooth blend, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Oh yeah, that looks so good. Can you see the gradation there? Perfect. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm happy with that. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to clean my stamp a little bit. I'm going to use some alcohol because I'm out of Hero Arts Ultra Clean, which I love. But the rubbing alcohol will work as well. And because these are good quality photopolymer stamps, they do stain a little bit, but they work still fine afterwards. So don't be surprised if your clear stamps stain a little bit. I'm basically using the darkest colors possible. So I'm not surprised mine stained a little bit. Some inks will stain your stamps. All right, now that we stamped that center, it's going to be a little bit easier for me now to line up the other buildings. All right, so we're going to start with the base. Yeah, Ralph did such a good job, Linda. I agree. He did so good. It's such a good release. All right, this one goes, this one is this one. This one goes on the left side. And we're going to slide this up because I think my stamp's going to hang off the edge. Yeah. All right. Oh, those pesky magnets. And I'm going to lean over a little bit here and there to make sure. I think that's pretty good, actually. I think I got it. First go. All right. Love that. Oh, yeah. And Ralph is still here, so give him all the love. It is a great release. So fun and so creative and unique. Love that. All right, we are going to stamp this in granite, which is a lighter gray than charcoal. So we're going a little bit lighter because I want these buildings that are a little bit more in the foreground to be lighter. And I like to use the Hero Arts scrubber tool. It's actually designed to clean your stamps, but I have one for cleaning stamps and I have one that I use to kind of press all over the stamp. It's really helpful for bigger stamps like that to get a good impression. Now this is a light color, so I'm not surprised I have to stamp it a couple of times. Ooh, it's looking so good already. All right, and I also want to do a gradation on this building base layer. I think I'm going to stamp one more time though. No worries, Brennan. You need some rest. Get your homework done and go to bed. He's been burning the candle at both ends this week. So Brennan has an amazing channel and he has a bunch of videos. He told me he had 4 videos come out this week, which is like, I think I would Well, I told him I would cry. I would. I'd be like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I do not know what the youngins are talking about. So now that I've inked it up and stamped it several times in that granite, and look at that beautiful solid base layer for the building. So pretty. Now I'm going to grab that charcoal, that darker gray, and we're going to ink it up, create a gradation. But this time, I'm not so worried about that gray being too dark that I'm going to go right to the ink pad directly to the stamp. And I'm going to kind of follow the angle here, which just is like the sidewalk. I'm going to kind of follow that angle. And see how my stamp ink pad's going to be a little angled? Ink that up. Grab a blending brush. Advance. Oh my gosh, thank you. It's the, oh my gosh. I knew AP, but I was so confused by the A push. I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. But AP, I know. I took AP Government. That was a very interesting class. Learned a lot. But I didn't take AP US History. Oh. Wow, that's awesome. I'm glad they offer such a range of classes. All right, I'm doing it one more time. You can see I already got a gradation. Oh, you know what? I'm going to, again, ink with my ink pad directly. Because charcoal's it's not as dark as black, obviously. So I'm not too worried about it getting too dark. I want to keep, I'm going to be playing a lot with tones, if you can't tell. So I'm very mindful of how dark something's going to be because I want contrast at 3 different levels. Good night, Brennan. All right, so that is a nice gradation there. I think I'm going to go a little bit more, one more time. And if you haven't noticed, I'm not afraid of stamping something 6,000 times, and I apologize. I will do that. I've had people in the past tell me, oh, you stamped that like 100 times. Yeah, I do that. I told you I overcomplicate things. All right, I'm going to stop there. That's good. I don't need to go any darker. We're done with that stamp. Now it's time for the detail layer. So let me grab the stamp set again. We just did this one here. So this is the detail layer. And I apologize, I just threw my stamps on here. I didn't put them all back nice and neat, so it does look very messy. All right, let's line this up. I think I got it. Okay. Oh, thanks, Sika. They're not always, but the ones that you get to see are. The ones in my trash aren't always so good. Okay. So we're going to ink this up in charcoal. I got to do gradients. That's like, I can't help myself. Any stencil, any solid stamp, I'm putting a gradation on there. It's one of my most favorite things to do. All right. Got to ink this up a lot more. Okay, now I'm going to stamp this a ton to really build up that intensity of that charcoal. But it's getting there. Look at that. It looks so cool already. I've only stamped half. All right, I think we're almost there. And my kids might be coming home any minute, so you may hear a little bit of noise when they come in. So I apologize for that. All right. It looks so good. Oh my gosh. Yay. Oh, I think I'm going to go a little bit darker at the top because if you remember, I ink blended with the charcoal and then I stamped with the charcoal, and I just want to keep it nice and intense. Right now I have high contrast, but it hasn't dried yet, and it's going to get a little bit lighter when it dries. So I'm going to ink this up with a little bit of that pitch black. I told you, stamp things a lot. So I've got my pitch black here. Same way I did these, just a little bit with the ink blend, with the blending brush applied to the stamp. So we get it's going to be a little bit darker, but hopefully keep that. We want to have a lot of contrast up there. I love those sharp lines. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that looks real good. Very happy about that. All right. We are ready to do this all over again for the other side. I'm going to actually clean this stamp since I forgot to do the last one. But we are rocking and rolling. All right, put that away. We're building our cityscape. All right, I got to reposition this paper because I can't really access that side, and we're going to stamp that side now. So I got to turn my Misty around here. The perspective is so good, right, Heather? Yeah, really good. I agree. Draws you in. Okay. Make sure we're all lined up again before I get my stamp in the right place. All right, I think slide it up just a hair more. All right, I think I got in the right spot. Street festival, yes. I want like little garlands and things to decorate it. That would be fun. Okay, starting again with that granite, and we're gonna stamp it a couple times. Oops, so my paper shifted on me, but we'll just pop it back in the corner. It should be okay. Yes, I agree. Some holiday add-ons, that'd be fun. I think Ralph has got a ton of ideas already. He will not let us down. He's got plans. So he says on the vision board. All right, we're getting there. Probably one more time with this granite. All right. Now we're going to do that gradation with the charcoal. And I just went ahead and inked the stamp right up this time, because it's not a big jump. Again, following the line of the sidewalk. That's the angle I want my ink pad to be. And we'll grab our blending brush and soften it just a bit. And I might have softened it a little too much. That's all right. Better safe than sorry. Oh, we got some good questions. Oh, I thought that was a question. Woo! We jumped back up in Arizona. I'm in Arizona. HeroArts is in California. Wish I was in California. And we're hot again, unfortunately. We're at 93 right now. So with all the lights, it gets a little bit warm. But it's starting, it will get cool. Oh, it's warm in San Diego too. I'm sorry. It's like, where's our fall, right? I was promised fall. By October 24th, it should be a little bit fall-y, right? I guess now I should understand that 93 is fall in Arizona, Shannon. You'd think someone who's born and raised here would understand that, but I think I just want it to be cooler so bad. So this is the detail layer for the stamps. And two, you can see how it doesn't line up with the bottom. It lines up with the top kind of tops of the buildings because it doesn't stamp the sidewalk. So just keep that in mind when you're positioning these, that is intentional. Am I on there? Yeah, I think let's go down just a tad. All right. I think I got it this time. Yep, that looks good. Okay, I'm pick it up. Texas has given us a break, Ralph says, in the heat, but wouldn't call it fall weather yet. Yeah, I know Texas can be really hot too. It's been a hot one. All right, this is the charcoal, our darkest gray. And this is just repetitive. This is exactly what I did before on the other side here. And since we spend a lot of time making this part of our scene, we'll do a little bit easier for the sky and the rest of the scene. We'll kind of simplify those parts. Maine, I would love to spend autumn in Maine. I actually have family in Maine. Uh-oh. I've just not sure if this shifted on me. We're gonna hope not. It did. Oh well, we're gonna have a little ghosting. I think I wasn't totally in the corner, but it'll be all right. I think we can camouflage it by going dark with our gray. Hi, Tiffany. You did catch me. How are you? 82. That's not too bad, but not fall. Yeah, I agree. Not fall enough. Actually, we may have discovered something here in this mistake. I'll show you what I've noticed and get your take on it. But I think it actually looks kind of cool. So I accidentally shifted I aligned my stamp to my panel, even though my panel was not completely in the corner. Thought it was, but it wasn't. So then I readjusted it because I thought it had moved. little did I know that by moving it, I messed it all up. So it's a little bit of ghosting going on here. Or double stamping. I think that's the right word. Double stamping. Rosie! Drive safe, my friend. All right. And even though it's double stamped, luckily that first layer is pretty light, so you can't really tell. But the double stamping, which is a little offset, is adding a little like extra layer to this. It almost looks like it's adding another side of the building or something. It's probably hard to describe, and I know it's very light, but that could be really cool. I wish I could get it better on camera, but that could be really cool. I might have to try that. Offsetting and stamping once and then stamping again. Like, yeah, more dimension, Polly. Yes, right? Polly gets it. Okay, now we're going to do black. I almost made a mistake. I don't want to ink up the black because it's too dark, but I do want to add a little bit to the top. And I think I just did this one time. That was all. Oh, thanks, Michael. I'm glad you like it. I mean, it's a little lacking color. I'm hoping though I'm hoping when I get to the sky and I have this plan to do a dramatic sky that will change everything. All right. I'm not mad at it. I think it's good. Yes, I'm getting a slight, you guys are so smart. Heather's got it too. You're getting a slight dimension shift. Yes, exactly. Probably more realistic. You guys are so smart. You guys know what's up. I'm glad you can figure out what I'm trying to say. Oh, all right. So that is our building layer, and kind of did reverse ombre where it's darker for the foreground buildings. The gradation is darker at the top and it gets lighter at the bottom, versus this one in the back I did darker at the bottom, lighter at the top, just to kind of mix my gradations a little bit. I think that's a little interesting and another idea. Looks like the stores in the middle are illuminating the street. Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking too, Tiffany. You're so smart. I was kind of thinking something like that. There's so many amazing ideas I think you could do with this. All right, we're going to now ink blend over it to color that ground a little. I'm going to grab my granite, load up. I need to tap off onto something. I'll tap off onto this scrap paper here. Paula says you can always add colored pencils. I love that idea. And I think you could totally color these buildings. Like you could stamp the detail layer in black and then color maybe each building. Very simple Copic coloring, like maybe just this building here is red like brick. Maybe this one's gray. Maybe that one's blue. You know, I think you could color this with Copics too. Wait, where's Pear Blossom? Where's, oh yes, she's not here, but Tiffany's saying we can use Pear Blossom Press Easy Lights. Yes, her lighting, the way she makes adding lights to your cards, so accessible. She's so good. Yes, let's get Alberto on that. Yes, please. I'll never be able to replicate it, but I want to see him do it. I want to see it done. Like, he's going to do it amazingly. All right, I'm going to ink blend this little building here because I just don't want it white. All right, and I think I'm going to create a little gradation, but keep it kind of light. All right, that is it for our street, I think. Keep it there. Keep it as that. Oh my gosh, Heather, I would love to see what he would do with it. Anything I told him he has the Midas touch. Anything he touches turns to gold. Like, it is otherworldly after he's done with it. All right, now let's create our sky. This is going to be the drama. I'm bringing the drama now. I forgot to score this. Let me score my card base real quick. There we go. Very nice. Okay. So I have a lot of colors picked out for the sky. I'm just get kind of my bearings here, how much sky I have. Look at that. Oh my gosh, looks so good already, right? Betsy! Long time no see. I'm happy you're here, my friend. Wow, this is the time to be live, right? Maybe I'm just getting the Ralph effect is what's happening. Ralph, everybody said that their Instagram hop was so wonderful. And they are all saying it's because they're getting the Ralph effect, which I concur. I'm getting the Ralph boost. All right, so let me go through all my colors. Overkill, yes. Lemon yellow, cotton candy, cornflower, indigo, and nautical. Yes, Sika's here too. All right, since we don't have to ink blend this whole thing, let's not do that. Let's not. I'm going to do my best Sika impersonation and try to do a light, soft blend. I'm going to tap off the excess here. I want a soft, dusky kind of sky is what I'm going for. And we're going to start about here with this yellow. It's intense, and I love it so, but a little bit goes a long way. Dunsies. Am I? Okay, I should be done. Done. Then we're going to bump up to cotton candy. And you know what? I really should have my ink stand here. There we go. Load up my brush. Tap off the excess. And ink blend a very soft pink. So soft, so pretty. And I'm going to go back a little bit with the yellow. Somebody stop me. Okay. Then we're moving on to cornflower. Every time I load up, and one thing I did learn about ink blending that's helpful is you actually, it seems counteractive, but you actually want to load up your brush. So even though I want a soft blend, I still want to load up my brush with ink. And then tap off the excess. And that helps a lot. I'm not sure, Michael. I was thinking, I don't know. I was thinking kind of dusk. So I guess like that's sunset, right? I don't know. What time is dusk? I'm not sure. We're going for like not a dramatic sunset, but something a little bit cooler, like a cooler tones is what I was thinking. So this is indigo. This one is so pretty. Dusk is even. Okay, great. Thank you, Ralph. Phew. I'm glad I'm not wrong. Or confused, I should say. I'm wrong all the time, but glad I'm not confused. I think. Oh no. Now Ralph's not sure. Dusk is 30 minutes after sundown. Oh, perfect. That makes so much sense because I'm not going to do a sun either, and I had no intentions of making a sun in my sky. I love that's perfect. Thank you, Heather. That's so smart. That makes sense to me. We're going with it. All right. I think I need a little bit more corn flour. It's not punching like I like it to. I might need to go up with the pink a little bit more. I think that's what I need to do. Okay, we're just gonna add a little bit more pink in. All right. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Oh no, I need to stop. I'm getting reckless. I can feel that I'm getting impatient and being sloppy. Okay, now we're gonna move on to nautical. This is a really dark navy. You can go at the very tip top. So very drama. And because our foreground is so minimalist in color, I think these are going to really pop. All right, let's see how it's looking. Let's grab our buildings. Oh, wow, very cool. Ooh, so pretty. I think I might ink blend a little bit gray at the top here, just to knock out that stark white. But I think we're on home stretch. Now to the part where I don't know what I'm going to do. The part I didn't think that far ahead. Well, I wasn't sure how we're going to get there. So right now, all I'm doing is taking my lightest gray and just inking the top, ink blending the top a little, just kind of take away that harsh white. That's better. Oh, I could snip it. That's so smart, Ralph. Yeah, you could totally snip it off. Yeah, I like that. Looks really good. All right, now what? Now what? So I think I need some more images. Oh my gosh. Sika Googled it. She says, I just Googled. This is the answer to what dusk is. I learned about twilight, civil twilight, nautical twilight, and astronomical twilight. Oh my gosh. Oh. Now we all have to go research what that is. I had no idea I only knew twilight. I knew none of the other twilights. Dusk is actually separate from twilight. Oh. So dusk must be before because twilight's right after, right? I don't even know. I don't know. All right. So what are we going to do? I think I gotta, since it's looking nighttimey to me, I'm gonna be splattering some stars in there. I gotta do it. Gotta do it. So that's happening. Count on that. And I was thinking about doing the cheers to your new adventure sentiment in the sky. So let's place that down, see where he's gonna go. Something like that. And then I don't know if I want any people. I think because I kind of cut a lot off the bottom. I don't know. I feel like I might have made the scale off. But we could do a street light. I kind of like that. And we could do this. I'm going to pull these off and see. That's a Stephanie Meyer. Nice. Nice. Very good, Ralph. That and this. What I'm thinking now is I have that sentiment I'm going to do. And it's going to be black. And think about the best way to balance that out. I think I'm going to keep it very simple and stamp. Just look one more time. I like the street light, but I have to do both. I won't do the street light. So I'll keep it very simple and stamp that marking in the center, but I'm going to make that, gosh, I could do white or I could do black. Let's do black because I'm splattering this white. Okay, decided. This is why I try not to do these live, have everything figured out, because I don't like making decisions live, because you see my thinking process, which is very back and forth and indecisive and messy. One thing I'll show you real quick, though, I was playing with this set before the live and playing with that kind of idea that I saw Alda. I never know how to say her name right, but she did the crazy colors. And I was thinking of doing something like that too. So here's one that I just practiced before the live. And maybe I'll do it again. I just didn't want to overcomplicate, because in case this is someone's first time watching how to use this set, I didn't want to overcomplicate it. But this is a very cool swiping the ink pad technique. I did that for the base layer. And I think that's really fun too. I love all the colors that it got in there. And I like that because I swiped it, it follows the vertical lines that you have in the buildings. And I like that look too. So that's another fun one as well. So I'll probably do something like this in the future. But that was one of my playing. Oh, you think so, Rosie? It's one of my ideas of playing with the set. You're home. Good. All right, we're going to stamp this first. And I'm doing it just black. Total concentration while I get stamps lined up. Okay. You came back. You're here at the right time. Yeah, the movies, the books, the movies, which don't come at me, but I have never seen them. Never read the books. Never saw the movies. I'm so sorry. So I cannot participate in this conversation. But you talk amongst yourselves, please. I have to. I know. I've always the only person. Okay. Well, now you, Amy, because I didn't know you were into it till now. But the only other person is Kathy Z. And I know she loves it, and because she loves it, and I love her and everything she is, I feel like I have to see it. I feel like I have to watch it. Oh my gosh! Put the shirt back. The shirt on. Okay. Yes, see, Kathy Z is a big Twilight. Yes, I know. I know because I follow her, of course. Duh. You need to follow Kathy Z if you don't follow her. Which I know Ralph is a big fan of Kathy as well. She is awesome. And yeah, she always talks about Twilight. She always is rewatching Twilight. Okay. I mean, I'm Team Edward too, but I don't feel like I'm allowed to have a say since I didn't really see it. But I always thought he was a very good looking guy. All right. And I like the sentiment with this scene because it looks like you're going past the city, right? Cheers to your new adventure. You're going past. Oh, so many Team Edwards. Okay. I have the books, the movies, Burger King Twilight merch. Whoa, Rosie. Okay. All right. And he sings. Yes, Tiffany, I found that out recently too. Tiffany knows I'm a little bit more of a fantasy girl. I guess, is Twilight fantasy? Because Tiffany and I both like Lord of the Rings. My daughter, Crystal says, my daughter and I had a date night and stayed in line for the, oh, you stood in line for the midnight viewing of the last one. Wow. She's almost 30. So such a treasure memory. That's awesome. Remember when we used to stand in line for the movies? I remember doing that. I dressed up. Tiffany, I didn't tell you this, stood in line for all the Lord of the Rings movies and dressed up a couple of times too. Yep. Now you know who you're really talking to. I knew nothing about the movies or the books, but I was Team Jacob. There we go. Oh, but you're Team Jacob because Taylor. Okay. All right, Ralph. All right. Yeah, it was so long. Such a long wait. Those were in the days, man. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, when they released, we were in line, midnight showings, dressed up. That like doesn't happen anymore. That was such a thing. Waiting in line to see it first. I don't know. Does anybody do that anymore? I don't think so. Extended version. Tiffany, the extended versions, love them. The commentary of, I'm just going to say the Hobbits because I'm not going to go through all their names, but so good. They're hilarious, and I love them with my whole heart. Back in the day, yes. We're allowed to talk about back in the day. This is a nostalgic release. Never saw the movies, read the Twilight books. I know a lot of people read the books. I almost feel like I would really like the books, actually. Rosie, I had Rugrats merch. Nice. Ralph had Rugrats merch. Now I don't go to a movie unless right? And right, Amy? And reclining chairs and like good food. No kids allowed. And alcohol can be served. Yeah. Rosie, Amy, I hear ya. 10,000%. Okay. We are like home stretch. Look at how good it's turning out, guys. I can't believe it. It's actually looking pretty good. It ain't no Kelly card or Ralph card, but it ain't bad. It ain't bad. All right, we are going to use, I've got to use the spray. You want a movie? Oh, no, now I feel bad, Crystal. And we talk about not going to movie theaters. We're taking our movie theater for granted. All right, I'm going to grab my splatter box. And I just heard a door shut, so my kids are coming in. Might be a little noisy. All right. I'm going to use the white acrylic spray to add the stars. Wicked. I love Wicked, Ralph. I got to see that in New York. And we won tickets. And we saw it on Broadway. It was so good. It was so good. I loved that. All right. I need some scrap paper. Hi, I'm doing a live. It's okay. Come in. But just be quiet, please. Something like that. I need a little bit of paper. Yeah, it was really awesome, Betsy. It was so good. We got so lucky. It's probably like one of the top best things that ever happened to me in my life was winning those tickets. I don't even know if they still do it. I'm just making a little mask to protect my sentiment because I don't want any of the splatters to go on my sentiment because you can't read it. But they used to have in New York for shows, they would do like these, I don't know what they would call it. Is it called a raffle? Like a raffle. And if your number got called, you won 2 tickets. You just had to pay immediately. And they weren't so expensive. They were only like, $200, which is not much for a Broadway show at all. Or 2 tickets. See, Ralph said he won tickets to see Ben Platt last time he was there. Awesome. So they still do that. That's so cool. I haven't been to New York in a very long time. I had a cousin who lived there, so we visited her a couple times, but now she's since moved and we haven't gone in a while. All right, this is the Hero Arts white acrylic spray. Super awesome. Oops, and I already accidentally splattered it. But I don't want to make a big mess. And I like to have a little bit more control over my splatter, so I don't spray it. I get it on my brush, and we're just going to tap. And I think we better stop there. Quit while we're ahead. Put the lid back on before I spill something. All right, and I'm going to move this out of the way. And we are going to wrap this card up. Let's get this splatter box out of here. East Tulip said we did too. Oh, first show and only ever on Broadway. Wow, it was epic. That's how I feel about art when we saw Wicked. Epic. Like I don't think I'll ever see anything so good. Oh yeah, you definitely someday, Amy, someday you'll get there. I know it. I think my next thing for New York is to go like around Christmas time, which I know is probably a very busy time to go, but I think it would be really pretty. Oh, thanks, Ralph. So easy to do and just adds a little bit more interest. Kind of adds more depth too, I think. I'm messy. I'm not a very tidy crafter. Nope. But this, I don't make any claims that I am otherwise. So I know about myself. All right. Did this get wet? Just inky. We're going to pop this up, of course. We got to add some dimension here. A foot of dust face. Yep. Luckily, I have I'm a dining room crafter. I don't have a craft room. I have a dining room table. So I have a big table space, but I still fill it. I fill up every inch. All right. I think I'm done. I once again went overboard with the foam adhesive. Definitely didn't need all that. Grab my tweezers. Can do the stab and grab to get that backing off. And we are done with this card. Super fun. I'll have to definitely do one again in the future with that swiping technique and make a really fun, colorful one. And I should stand to do this, but we're going to eyeball. And we did it. We did it. There it is. Really, really fun. Love the set. A lot of potential. Can't wait for more things. I see Ralph's, I can see the potential. So I'm excited about that. Very, very fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I know this was a very long live and I appreciate you kind of keeping company and doing this make with me. Very fun, beautiful card. Love those HeroScapes. And this is a great one to add to the line, this Street View set. Thank you, Ralph, for such an amazing release and joining in this live and even staying for the comments. That's very, very kind of you. And yes, I need a holiday one. Ooh, I Miss Tiffany's moved. I want to dress I do too. I want to add more to them. Can you imagine window displays? Oh my gosh, so much potential. Love it. All right, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all spending some time with me this evening, going through all of Ralph's incredible fall release, which again, we have links below. And don't forget to check out the IG Hop. Please check those out, because there was a lot of cards I shared from today that were from that hop. And I definitely want to make sure you were following those people. If you're not following them already, I have a link that takes you to our blog, which will get you to IG. And then you can hop along and see everybody's creations, because there are some we didn't show because we already showed so many. And then there's things like Bo's card. You want to see the inside of his card. I didn't get a picture of that. So please go over there and check out and send some love to those card makers, because they really, really knocked it out of the park. And even some of them have videos too. So definitely check them out. And is there anything else I need to share? And there's giveaways for the IG Hop too. So you could win some money and then buy some Ralph products. All right. Thank you, everybody. I think that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Aaron. And I will see you guys in the next live. Have a wonderful evening, morning, whatever time it is. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.